Hi everybody, my name is Lindsay Higel and I'm the Program Director at the Hospitality Management and Culinary Arts Department at Central Community College in Hastings. Today I'm going to show you a recipe for fish tacos. They're one of my favorites and one of my husband's favorites. We're going to use a beer batter featuring Steeple Brewery's Wayne Fell Asleep's dark porter, and so that'll make a really nice full flavored beer batter. Today I've done a little bit of prep work, so we'll just kind of run you through that recipe. Here we've got, for the coleslaw, this is going to go on top of the fish taco. We've got shredded cabbage. The original recipe calls for both green and red cabbage. I didn't have any red today. Shredded carrot, green or red onion, a couple tablespoons of chopped jalapenos, and about a quarter of a cup, between a quarter of a cup and a half a cup of seeded cucumber diced in there. So you're gonna get those veggies all put together in the bowl there. Then you're gonna top that first with just a mixture here of some lemon juice, a little bit of a cider vinegar, some sugar on top of that, and I like to just pour that over the top and kind of let that wilt that cabbage down just a little tiny bit. So we just toss that together and let that sit for just a minute or two. While that's wilting down, we'll just start heating up our tortillas. So for this recipe, I'm not doing a large batch tonight. Didn't have a lot of fish today, so I'm just going to roll up some tortillas in a flour tortilla, in some foil, and throw them in a warm oven to heat them up. Oftentimes when we are making this recipe, if we're fish frying for a lot of people, I'll just throw those in a foil packet and throw them on the grill so we can be outside while we're frying in our deep turkey fryer is what we typically do this in. So once we've got that set aside, let that sit for just a few minutes. It does have a secondary mixture, so more of a mayonnaise based mixture to it. So in here we have about a half a cup of mayonnaise, a couple tablespoons of sour cream, some dark grainy mustard of your type. This one's a little sweet. I like sweetness in this. I think it cuts well with the batter and the spiciness of the fish batter, and then quite a lot of horseradish for this mixture. So those just get combined. Just stir those up just a little tiny bit first. I do like my things a little sweeter at times, so things you can add to sweeten this up to your liking would be a little bit of honey, or you could add some sweetened condensed milk to this recipe if you also like things more on the sweet side versus the savory side. If you've got fresh dill, that's a nice addition to this as well. Just don't get too carried away with it so that it doesn't overpower the horseradish or fight with that too much. If I had some fresh, I'd add it, but I don't. I just have dried, so I'm going to leave it out today. Once that's combined, it's best if those flavors have a little bit of time to meld together. So making that first, sometimes we make it in the morning if we're fish frying in the afternoon or the evening, but just as long as it has a couple, 20 minutes or so in the fridge. For the beer batter, I've been making this recipe for years, and the original recipe told you to shake a little bit of Bayou Blast, which is just kind of a seasoning that has maybe a little bit of Old Bay seasoning type ingredients in it. And it used to tell you to go ahead and sprinkle that on the fish, which I still do. Then it had you separate another bowl with some flour and seasonings and then make the beer batter. What I've found over time is just to save on dishes, especially for doing this outdoors for a fish fry. I just use the batter mixture dry first to coat the fish before I add the beer and make it a batter. So I'll show you how to do that. Again, the original recipe I'll leave for you. It will show you how to do both, the way I'm doing it tonight and then the way we used to do it before I was concerned about more dishes, I guess. So again, we're just gonna sprinkle the fish fillets. This is some white bass. I don't have a lot of it. I originally, of course, was planning to do this food demonstration from the college where we'd have ample, and I have just a little bit that my daughter's boyfriend graciously gave to me so we could do our little recipe demo here today. So we're sprinkling quite a lot of the Bayou Blast, which is just a Cajun type seasoning, onto the fish, okay? Then for our beer batter, we have a couple of cups of flour, a tablespoon of cayenne pepper, and a teaspoon and a half of the baking powder. So we're gonna stir this together. And this is where I kind of combine some of the steps. Normally it would tell you to do a mixture like this separately and then toss your fish fillets in there and then proceed with another bowl for batter. We're just doing it in one step here. So I'm just gonna coat or dredge the fish fillets that have now been seasoned in the Bayou Blast, and now shake off the excess flour off of our fish fillets. And then again, so that I don't have to start another bowl, I'm just gonna add the liquid mixture to this batter that was our original coating. So in here, I have about a tablespoon of vegetable oil, about 1/4 teaspoon to 1/2 teaspoon, depending on how spicy you like it, of Tabasco sauce that goes in our flour mixture. And then we are just going to thin that out with our porter. Roughly a cup. I'm spilling like crazy. That's not a good thing. Can't waste beer. I've got some lumps, so I need to switch to a better utensil. Once you've got a nice smooth batter, you're just going to dunk your already dredged fish fillets in the beer batter, removing a little of that excess. And they'll be ready for the fryer oil. Our fryer oil I got going earlier when we started here today, so it's about 350, 375. So they shouldn't take, but maybe if they were large fillets, these ones are pretty small. You know, maybe 6 or so minutes. These are going to take more like 3. We're good and done. Remove our nice dark fish fillets, beer battered. Just gonna hit those with a tiny bit of salt before the oil dries. Sample our coleslaw. Just needs a touch of salt, a little bit of fresh pepper there. Again, the heat is good. The horseradish isn't overpowering, but I personally like mine a little sweeter. I'm gonna leave it as is because these are going to Kaylee's boyfriend Drake's house since he supplied the fish. So I'm gonna leave the honey or the sugar out. There is a little bit of sugar in the original recipe. Again, I would make this a little sweeter, but I'm gonna leave it as is. The fish, nice golden color on there. Our tortillas, just warm. And we'll just assemble and get these ready for her to take over there. Again, nothing much to it. Just want to fill the inside of the tortilla with a couple of strips of the fish. I like to break them up just a little tiny bit. I think it makes them a little tiny bit easier when you're eating, especially if you're choosing to eat these outside. Like I said, when we traditionally fry fish, we do it outside in the big turkey fryer. Layer on quite a lot of that good creamy coleslaw. And depending on your flavor, my husband likes to put a little Tabasco sauce on top of his. So again, quick, easy recipe featuring Steeple's Wayne fell asleep.